So the upcoming Shabbos we read Parshat Pinchas, and let us share a short word on the Parsha that you could share with your families. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen heishav es chamos mi'al b'nei Yisrael b'kana es kenosi b'soichem v'lo cholisi es b'nei Yisrael b'kinosi. And this act was of such momentous significance that in every generation we daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we want to be ma'ir racham mishamayim. Rachmono id karlan kena osei de Pinchas kanoo bedil v'yavoyo. We want to invoke Masa Pinchas to be ma'ir racham mishamayim. What was so great about Kinas Pinchas? Hey, Shavas Chamosi me'al b'nei Yisrael v'kanes kenosi v'soichem v'rochelisi es b'nei Yisrael b'kinosi. Pinchas' intentions were just to be ma'orer rachamei shamayim. Fascinating tshuva in Igris Moshe. Reb Moshe Feinstein writes a tshuva to his son-in-law, Reb Elia Moshe Shizgal, who was a Godel B'Yisrael, and he died at a very young age before his father-in-law. And Reb Elia Moshe Shizgal asked him, Moshe, Rashi writes in Sanedrim Peyalef Omid Beis Aboy L'Rames Kano and Poigem Boy, B'nei Odom HaKsherem HaMitkanim B'kinat HaMakom. Does Rashi mean to say that not everyone is entitled to kill a Boy L'Rames? You need to be yourself on a very high level of virtue, of tzidkus. You need to be a Ben Odom kosher, and your intentions need to be pure. Only lekaneh kinas Hashem, to be mekadesh Shem Shemayim, to prevent a chilul Hashem. But if you have any personal agenda, any personal vendetta, then you don't have permission to do this. And Rav Moshe agrees, and he says, very much so. Chidush Aran, in the Hemshech of the Sugi, the Gemara says that Pinchas approached Moshe when he saw this awful thing happening. He ran to Moshe. Moshe, didn't you teach us Aboy L'Rames Kano Poigem Boy? So Pshutoi Shel Dovar, Moshe just wanted to be sure that he remembers correctly. But the Chidush Aran says, no. Pinchas went to Moshe and asked, am I fitting to do this? Ha'im ani ra'ui lakach? And Moshe says, ein odom ra'ui mimcha. Yes. I think that proves that Moshe's point. Not everyone could be a kanai. You could be a kanai only if your intentions are pure. If there is no anger and no wrath, and there's nothing personal about us. Kanoas needs to come from rachamim, from chemlo, from tuv leiv. Only lekadesh Shem Shemayim. So in Brochas Daf Chof there's a story. Rav Papa asked Sabaya, why our predecessors, our forefathers, had Nisim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made miracles for them, and He doesn't make miracles for us. And Abaye explains, Rishonim de Masro Nafshayu HaKadoshas Hashem Israchash Lo Nisa. They had Mesiras Nefesh to be Mekadesh Shem Shemayim, and they had miracles. We lack that Mesiras Nefesh. And Abaye brings an example of a Godel that had Mesiras Nefesh, Rav Ada bar Ahava. Rav Ada bar Ahava walks out and he sees a woman that is dressed immodestly to the extreme. And Rav Ada bar Ahava tears that garment off her back. And people told Rav Ada bar Ahava, she isn't Jewish. She's a Gentile. What do you want from her? And he's disturbed. And he turns to the woman and he asks her, what's your name? And she says, Mosan. And Rav Ada bar Ahava says, Mosan sounds like Mosayim, 200. Mosan, Dalad Meyazuz Shav. He takes out $400 and he gives her compensation. And when I learned this Gemara many years ago, I asked, Abai wants to bring an example of a person that has Mesirus Nefesh to make Mekadesh Shem Shemayim. And it's a great example. Rav Ada bar Ahava, in the middle of the street, tears a garment, and he's not afraid that people will mob him and lynch him. What are you, crazy? You're starting up with a woman in the middle of the street? They'll call the police. They'll take him to the station. He's going to be brought before a judge. He doesn't care because he needs to be moicha al kedushas Hashem. But why is it important, the end of the story? she's not Jewish, what's your name? And I say, of course it's important. Because we would like to know, who is this Rav Ada bar Ahava? Is he an angry person or not? So maybe in the morning before he left his house, he yelled at his wife because his coffee wasn't exactly like she likes it. And then in shul, he bet up the gabe because he didn't get shlishi. And then he walks out on the street and he tears a garment off a woman's back. If that would be the case, that is not a kanai for whom HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes miracles. Who was Rav Ada bar Ahava? So he was told that the woman isn't Jewish. I'm embarrassed to say I know many people that would respond, she's not Jewish, Zazana Kapura. No, that's not Rav Ada bar Ahava. Obviously, she isn't a big tzedekis. Obviously, she shouldn't be wearing those clothes. But if she's not Jewish, then I hurt her feelings without any justification. She's not chayiv mitzvahs. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't dictate to her how to dress. So he turns to that woman and he asks, what's your name? Al tar b'sicha misho. Be'ishta yomro kal v'choyma be'eshes acherem. Be'eshes acherem be'bas Yisrael amro kal v'choyma be'nochriya. Be'rishus ha'yochid amro kal v'choyma be'shus ha'rabim. And especially a woman that's not dressed modestly, the Gadol Hador shouldn't be standing in the street and conversing with her. But Rav Ada bar Ahava says, I heard her feelings and it wasn't justified. So he asks her, what's your name? And she says, Mosam. Takes out $400 and he pays. He should have asked, where did you buy this dress? Let's go, I want to know how much you paid. And how long have you been wearing this dress? So it's a used dress. How much is a used dress worth? He doesn't ask any questions and he makes no inquiries. He just wants to make her happy and he takes out $400 and he pays. That's Rav Ada bar Ahava. This is a person that is sensitive to the feelings of an immodest, non-Jewish woman. Yes, he cares. And when it comes to Kvod Shemayim, he is the Kanui. That is Mesiras Nefesh on Kedushas Hashem. And those are the people that deserve miracles. That was Pinchas. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Rashi writes, and the sources in Sanhedrin Daf Pei Beis. לפי שואל שבותם מבאזם מויסה ויאמרם, הרי יסם בן פוטי זה שפתאום מביא אימי הגולם לעבוד זרה, והלך והרג נשיא שבט ישראל. The Shvotim said, well, his grandfather was an Ovid of Zora. What's the big deal? And I wonder, what did those Shvotim say? That is nonsense, it's cruel, it's stupid. What does that have to do with him that his grandfather was Mefata Magolim La'avodah Zora? Is that a reason that Toras Hashem HaKdosha needs to write a pasuk? And I say, no. What they said is not stupid. Maybe it isn't even cruel. Maybe it makes sense. Their argument was a very simple one. It's in Pinchas' genes. It's genetic. His grandfather was an Ovid Avodah Zora. And the Gemara says in Shabbos Kufei, HaMeshabe Kelem B'chamoso Yeh Beinecho K'Ovid Avodah Zora. Angry people are like Ovid Avodah Zora. The Zohar goes beyond that, and the Zohar says, Kol HaKoyes Keilu Ovid Avodah Zora. So according to Chazal, there is some kind of a connection between Avodah Zora and Kaas. So the Shvotim said, yes, Pinchas is a Kanai, but his grandfather was an Ovid Avodah Zora. It's in his genes. It's hereditary. Avodah Zora and Kaas come from the same place. So obviously Pinchas is one of those angry ones, and that is why he killed Zimri and Cosby. The Torah says, you've got a mistake. Dear Shavotim, it is in Pinchas' genes, but you're confusing one grandfather with the other. You want to know what's in Pinchas' genes? Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Oyev Sholem, Roidev Sholem, Oyev Esabrias Umekav Torah. That's Pinchas. That is the real Pinchas. He is the grandson of Aaron HaKohen, nothing to do with the other Zayda. Pinchas is a man of peace, a man of warmth and of love, a man that is sensitive to everyone. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, and he was the Kanai. Masra nafshayu al kedushas Hashem. That is Mesiras Nefesh l'kadesh Shem Shemayim. And that is why we hope. In the schus of Kinas Pinchas, Shakadosh Baruch Yerachem Aleinu. And just like we daven every morning when we say Akedes Yitzchak, Kishem shekovesh Avrom Avinu es rachma v'las es ritzoincho b'leiv Sholom, kein yichbeshu rachmecho es kaschem yoleinu. We could say the same regarding Pinchas. Kishem shekovash Pinchas es rachamov, las es ritzoincho b'leiv Sholom, and to be Mekadesh Shem Shemayim. We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kein yichbeshu rachmecho es kaschem yoleinu, ויגולו רחמך על מידויסך. שהקדוש ברוך הוא ישלח לנו משיח צדקנו. We should be זויכת את הגאולה שלמה במהרה וימינו אמן. Have a beautiful Shabbos.